Rockford native Kimberla Lawson Roby self-published her first book 17 years ago. Today, she has more than 2 million copies of her books in print and was recently recognized for her outstanding literary work with the coveted NAACP Image Award for her book, The Reverend's Wife. Released in January 2013, The Perfect Marriage is Kimberla's 18th book. Soul News Network recently caught up with the New York Times best-selling author to hear more about everything from her decision to leave corporate America to pursue her dreams to the prescription drug abuse epidemic that's sweeping America, as well as her thoughts on mingling with fellow celebrities on the red carpet during the recent NAACP Image Awards.
Well, I think that when you're talking about addiction of any kind, whether it be drugs or alcohol or gambling or shopping, whatever it might be, most people tend to think that a certain person falls into that category. Maybe they're down on their luck, maybe they're homeless, maybe they're destitute in some kind of way, maybe they lived a hardcore life even growing up. But the truth of the matter is that addiction can affect anyone across the board. It doesn't matter about your racial background, your social status, doesn't matter how much money you have, what educational background you have, that really anyone this can actually happen to, and it does happen to. I think with drugs, there's a certain taboo attached to it. People look down on people who do drugs, especially when you're talking about illegal drugs. But one of the reasons I wanted to even bring in the idea of prescription drug use is because a lot of people who do that don't think that it's as bad. I've talked with some people who had dealt with it, and one woman was saying who she didn't feel like she was as bad as a person using cocaine, crack, or something of that nature. And so I really wanted to focus on it because a lot of times when you're talking about shopping or you're talking about gambling, things that people don't believe will really destroy you, people think it's on a different level. But in reality, addiction, no matter what kind, can not only destroy the person who's doing it, but also the family members as well. Talk about lifelong dreams. Writing wasn't that for me, and so I have many friends who are writers who will tell you that they knew as small children that this is what they wanted to do, and for me it just wasn't the case. And so if you had asked me as a child what I wanted to be, I was just thinking how much money could I make, and so that was being a doctor, a gynecologist in particular, or it was being an attorney. And so those were my dreams and my aspirations. So even though teachers were telling me as early as elementary school and junior high and high school and even in college that I should be a writer, I just didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. And then when I was graduating from high school, I started looking at the salaries of writers versus people who majored in business, and I thought, well, I'm definitely not going to be a writer, And so I continued on that path and majored in business at Rock Valley College and then business administration, and I worked for a number of different companies, as well as the state of Illinois and the city of Rockford, but I always felt like something was missing. There was this void, so to speak. And then I thought back to those teachers and what felt comfortable to me, and that was writing. And so I set out in 1995 while still working as a full-time financial analyst for the city of Rockford. Wrote every evening, every weekend, every holiday, and in 7 months I had that first book complete. I would say, do exactly what you feel like your passions are. Once you figure out what your passion is, then you know what your purpose is. You know the reason that God has placed you on this earth in the first place. And I think many times people don't believe what they love to do will be good enough. They don't think they can earn a living from it. And even if it's as much as you love cleaning houses, I share this a lot, it just means you should own your own cleaning service. That's the only difference. And so I think not giving up and definitely ignore the naysayers. A lot of times when you share your dreams and what it is you want to do, some people think that's totally out of the question. That will never happen for you. And when I first started writing a book, I did share it with a couple of people. Obviously, family members and close friends were very supportive. But some other people, you could just see the look, almost like, okay, that's nice, but not really thinking that was a good idea for me to spend my time on it. And thank God I didn't listen to that. And so when I go into the high schools and the colleges and universities, I tell students, if you believe in God, you believe in yourself, and you believe in whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you'll be okay. It's amazing. I kind of have been on this subject a lot with people who have been going through some different situations in their lives. My mom used to always say that for everything bad, something good happens to you. And I never would have believed losing her could have turned into anything good, but my relationship with God, I thought it was okay, but it moved to an all-time high. My strength now, there's not a whole lot that I could go through that could really take me back to that, because that was the most devastating time in my life, losing my mom, the most important person in my life, my best friend, the woman who next to God I thought was everything. And so it was a tough time, but coming out of it now, looking back and looking on the other side and remembering how she told me, you'll take everything that I taught you, you'll go on to do all the things that I hoped and prayed for you. And I've seen so many of those things come to pass. It almost seems like more so since she passed away, but the strength that I have, and I think, the advice that I'm able to give other people who are now going through it, it's because of what I went through with her. No, it is that family life, and it is the friends, and it's the fact that I grew up here. This is my foundation, and so I think that everything that I've done thus far, it all began here. And so I love Rockford. A lot of people will say Rockford is boring, there's nothing here, they want to leave. And that's never crossed my mind, to be very honest, to do so. Now traveling as a writer, I've seen a lot more cities than I ever probably would have had I not become a writer. And I love to visit those places, but I plan to be here, I think, for the duration. I don't see myself moving away from here, and I really do love the area. And when I'm gone, I can't wait to get back here, to be very honest. I grew up on the west side of Rockford, and I come from a household with parents who graduated high school, and no, they didn't go on to college, but they had great factory jobs. That was kind of the thing here. That was why most families could do well. And so I grew up in a very Christian household with moral values and very strong family values, and I think that really has shaped who I am today. I was taught to love and honor God, to treat people the way I want to be treated. My mom used to always say, don't ever feel like anyone is better than you, but don't you ever go around thinking you're better than the next person. And almost like one way and one the other, but it always made a lot of sense to me. And so being here and growing up around family members and some of the friends that I still have today after all of these years really has just allowed, I think, my life to become very, very well-rounded. Wow is the word to use, because I, first of all, never would have expected it, having watched the NAACP Image Awards on TV for so many years, and being just in awe of the people that you enjoy, people who are so talented, whether it be actors or actresses or people in music or people that have just done something in the literary world. I never imagined that I would find myself in that space. And so then having to go out to California and sit there, and then to hear my name called, there really are no words. I've tried to find them and tried to describe, what it felt like, but it just has been a wonderful blessing and a journey, and it really is, I think, the highlight of my career. I've thought about all of the recognition and things that have happened throughout my time as a writer, but this really, I think, tops it all. Well, I grew up with a mom who, from the time I was a very small girl, telling me that I could do anything. And so she wouldn't be shocked. Though I'm shocked, though I never even believed that I would win, per se, she would say, this is what I hoped for, and this is what I prayed for, and I knew you could do it. Well, just had a book released in January, and so now I have another coming out in May called A House Divided. It's my 19th title, but it's also the 18th, or I should say the 10th book in my Reverend Curtis Black series, and then now actually working on the one for 2014. I would really like my legacy to be not so much about my career, but that, Kim, not even Kimberla Lawson Roby, Kim really tried to treat people the way she wanted to be treated.